Well, hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. This is episode 30 of the career that we've been sharing together on YouTube. I've been doing a little bit offline, off camera. I've been doing a couple of mining landings and bringing more ore up to the ship on Minmus. And when I was doing that, I noticed something, and that was that we are really close to an encounter, or at least a window to encounter Eve. It's starting to creep up on us. And what I like, by the time we get a ship and burn it out to this side, it'll be around about there. So this is pretty good alignment for an Eve mission. So I want to take advantage of that. And in order to take advantage of that, some of the other things I've been doing is I gathered a little more science off of Minmus. I figured that'd be repetitive to do more Minmus missions. And if you recall, we put a science lab on our Minmus orbital refinery, and that's been generating science, and I've been transmitting that back. So we actually have quite a bit of science right now that we are sitting on, and some of that science is going to be necessary for the ship to do this Eve mission, or at least the ship that I want to use to do the Eve mission. So I went ahead, let's go ahead and let's grab this research. And we'll get those tanks and those extra rockets. And I will show this rocket off that I spent a while building this thing. It's preposterously long time, but it's rather involved. And like the Minmus mission, we're not going to get this all done in one video, but we will. We will get a fair amount done. Don't get me wrong. And so let's go ahead and see what we have here. It's called Eve. There we go. And here we have it. So it's pretty tall, so it's right now a lot of it's under the floor. These are huge solid rocket boosters. And pretty big engines at the bottom of this. You've seen the nuclear engines before. This is just basically a nuclear drive that is going to push... Oh, and I need to do something. I just noticed something. No, that's right. I'm going to put 4 of those on. This thing has to push a lot of stuff. I don't know if that's necessary or not, but we're going to do it. All right, at any rate, let's save that. What this does is a nuclear drive that is going to basically, we're going to refuel this at Minmus. And we have landers that we're going to try to drop into the atmosphere and try to get science. We have a science satellite along with 2 other communication satellites that we're going to need to put into orbit. So 3 satellites, some landers, and the nuclear drive all have to get into orbit, and we have to get them to Minmus to refuel. So let's go ahead and launch. Now, in reality, we probably don't need to take this to Minmus. Taking this to Minmus is more of a show-off of the ability of what this whole mining operation can do for us. And it's kind of a cool to, first time we get to play with it and see how well it works or how badly it works, or I don't know, we'll find out. The nuclear drive is currently unmanned. I don't have any I just want to make sure that this works well, at least in this configuration, before I want to start committing real actual Kerbals to it. So let's go ahead. We will turn on our stability assist, crank up the gas, and we will take this up. Now, right now, the only thing that's driving this thing are these solid rocket boosters. So I'm going to kind of tweak this thing to 90 degrees ever so slightly and have it kind of try to do a gravity turn. And we'll see how well that works. Because the more lateral motion I can get out of those, the better. And so far it looks like we're doing okay. It's not perfect by a long shot. I mean, in an ideal world, we'd be at about 45 degrees over when we hit 10,000 meters, and we're nowhere possibly going to be doing that. But since we are getting this all from really cheap solid fuel rocket boosters, I'm not complaining too much. If it means the more ballistic launch, then so be it. We're getting a lot, a lot of speed. Uh-oh. We're getting a lot of speed out of these things. Now, I think we're going to make it to space with no problem at this point in time, just from this alone, before we even get a drop out of the liquid fuel. But I don't want to turn this... Oh, yeah, there we go. I didn't want to turn it over on its side until... And try to get more from it until those were burned out, because I didn't want them crashing into the side of the rocket. All right, we're going to go ahead and... Whoopsie. That's going too far. That's... No. What in the world? Okay. Okay, that was not expected, but we'll recover. You went too far before I got fired, and then I couldn't bring it back quick enough. So we lost a little bit of our apoapsis there, but it doesn't matter. We're burning sideways, and that's what we need to do. I was kind of hoping to dump that off sometime or another before we started this burn the way we did, but because of that little fiasco, I don't think I was safe doing it any other way than what we're doing now. Still going up. It's going up because it's going against the curvature of the planet faster than its own curvature. That's okay. A little higher orbit than I would normally prefer, but like I said, we got there using the solid rocket boosters, so it's just really hard to complain. All right, so I'm going to do two things. I'm going to pop this thing off the front. I am going to go ahead and drop that engine off the back. I want to find out what burn we need to do here. Hopefully we haven't been needing to burn this whole time, but I think we're okay. That's a good start. We will go ahead and do that. It's a 4-minute and something burn, so we're going to be needing to burn pretty quickly as soon as we get pointed in the right direction. I'm just going to go ahead and burn because we just don't have that much thrust, and the engines will help vector us to the right location. There's that cap we threw off just a little bit ago, so we're a little lighter. Yeah, a little late on the burn, but that's okay. I have a docking port here on the front. So hopefully this holds together. All right, this is a 4-minute burn. I'm going to give you a beauty shot, and I'm going to fast forward this. Also, physics fast forward it. All right, there we are. Close enough, at least. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so the next thing we need to do is find Minmus, set it as target. And where's our ship? So when we get to the descending node here, we will ascend. I usually try to make these things roughly right angles to where they started. I figure that's pretty indicative that it's flat overall if that's where the planes are meeting, if it's able to scoot around that quickly. I'm going to physics fast forward this thing, and we will point in the right direction. We have a 2-minute and 16-second burn to get us there. So that'll be about a minute 8 seconds, someplace in that neighborhood. I'm going to go ahead and warp to the next maneuver. Oops, I'm in physics fast forward. I always do that, and then I warp forward and I can't figure out why it's going so slow, or can't figure out why my big giant ship just exploded or something. All right, here we go. This gives us an extra minute, so I'm going to speed it up just a little bit manually. And that's good enough. We'll burn there. I'm going to slowly bring our orbit down to this line, which should match Minmus pretty well. All right, once again, I'm going to fast forward. It's just burning. All right, so we should be pretty close, if not there perfectly. So we just need to burn out to it. Should be around here, thinking. Where are we at? Come on. There we go. All right, that's a little too much, I think. Darn it. These nodes just sometimes aren't big enough, and you end up like I just did. I just grabbed one of these things rather than turning it. And I'm just... There we go. I think that will do it. Do what we need it to do. So let's go ahead and turn that way. I'll physics fast forward this, and as soon as this thing gets around, this is a ridiculously long burn. So we're going to go to that maneuver. When I start that burn, I am just going to, again, fast forward through the video so you don't have to sit through 6 minutes of this thing burning. All right, so we're there. We're going to warp to the next maneuver. Physics warping to the next maneuver because I keep forgetting to take myself out of that mode. And like so when you have a big ship, sometimes doing that can just tear your ship apart. All right, so I'm going to burn down to about 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and the node. And then we're going to start our burn, and I'm going to fast forward this. So look how early we started. I'm going to fast forward this. I'll see you on the other side. All right, here we are. Let me burn that just a little bit more, just to make sure we've got a decent orbit, or a decent intercept. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward this in the game to get us out here. We really don't need to go to Minmus. If you look how much Delta V we have more than enough to get to Eve and probably back, but at least, you know, the orbit of. I like the idea of having this refueled the way that, you know, because this is sort of a, you know, check out to see how this is going to work for our bigger missions. So I'm going to bring this down. Whoops, not that far. I'm going to bring this down a little. Yeah, that's about right. I want it to be lower, maybe not that much lower than this where the space station roughly is, and that's about where the space station roughly is. We can adjust that later. It's just all about the rendezvous. Physics fast forward this to point us in the right direction. And then we will fast forward to this maneuver, and probably I will fast forward that again for you guys while that burn is actually happening. It's not nearly as long as that one that we did to escape Kerbin, but it's still no slouch. So let's warp. Oops, did it again. I keep forgetting to take it off of the physics fast forward, and then when I go to warp next maneuver, it goes to the fullest of that. And I'm just fortunate it hasn't torn the ship apart. Alright, so we're going to have to burn at approximately, I don't know, 75 to 80 seconds. So that will be about 20 seconds here. Yeah, we'll get it more in that range. No, I can't do math. What's that? 45 seconds. That's what we're looking for. Oh, man, I'm glad it doesn't really matter. We're far enough out. I do not know what I did wrong in that. That's funny. I normally know how to divide things in half, but not that time. Went a little too far. I was too busy watching, admiring the sun and Minmus together. That's okay. We have plenty of time to turn around, and we're going to want to turn around this direction anyways, ultimately, because the next burn we do will be down here, and we'll be wanting to face this exact direction. So, well, maybe not exact, but okay, we're almost to the other side. So we're just going to give it a little bit. That's good enough. And when we come down here, we will get that all worked out. I don't really actually care about that one just yet. We're going to leave that not that high, but we're going to leave that a little high. Because that way it'll make it easier to intercept the space station. Well, I want to make it easier. Hopefully to make it take less time. All right, we are going to go ahead and warp to this maneuver. Am I on physics? No, I am not. The one time I remembered to check and I wasn't on it. As you recall, when we did the mining mission, I pointed out that I couldn't figure out how to get this overlay. And I will show you how to do that here in a second. What you do is you double click on the planet and you click on this thing right here with the resources and you highlight ore. And then you click on this and you look for the better concentrations of it. And that's where you mine, which is right where that one is. So, all right. Nonetheless, that's neither here nor there. We need to point this in the right direction, which for some reason it is not. And I better get there quickly because we're supposed to burn like now. All right, I'm just going to give it some gas and we'll figure it out. When I get the thruster or these things, going, it well, that was not good, but that's okay. Well, like I said, we'll fix it. When those thrusters they're vectored, so it's not quite so awful. When it's burning, if I can point, it helps me point it in the right direction sometimes. This actually worked out okay. We're right about here is where I want to add a maneuver. And we're just going to... Basically, every orbit we go around, when I click this plus, it moves these. It shows you where the position of the other ship is. What I want to do is get this on the other side, have it pass, and then I back up. So I know I have to wait like 2 orbits, do this burn, and then as soon as I do this burn, they're pretty close together. And we could fix that even a little bit more if I did, and yeah, we're not. It's Minmus. It's too easy to just do this. So we need to wait until that time passes. I'm going to add that to a Kerbal Alarm clock. And we're just going to, as soon as this physics fast forward, or we're not even physics fast, as soon as this points in the right direction, we're going to go forward. But we're going to have to readjust anyways because it never works. It never stays in the right direction when you do it this way for whatever reason. All right. We are very close to that burn. Where are we? All right. Whoops. And I want to get pointed in the right direction. There's plenty of time for that. We have a very tiny, tiny burn. Now that's at full throttle, and we're not going to go full throttle. We're going to go much more lightly than that, but I love the Kerbal Alarm clock. That is a useful mod. And I slowed it down a little before we got there just because I was having so much hard time doing this, but I didn't need to. All right. We're about there. We're going to make this quick burn. Won't even fast forward this one. That didn't work out. Oh, did it? Oh, that's our problem. The orbits are just pretty far apart. But we have a half a kilometer separation. That's not horrible. I'm going to go ahead and warp to here. And we'll see that come around. Then this one's on a slower orbit, so it's catching up to my higher orbit. And here we are. So what I want to do, we're not going very quickly. So what I want to do is I'm actually just going to burn towards the target almost directly. And that'll hopefully start pushing that. Well, I just want to... It'll make more sense when I'm doing it, I hope. It takes so long for this thing to turn. All right, I'm going to start burning now. And what I want to do is pull prograde over the top of the target. Now I'm going a little bit faster than I wanted to do now, and our separation is actually farther away than it was before, right? I mean, it was like, no, it's not. It was at 0.5 before. So we are actually going closer by doing this. I am trying really hard to... That's why it's on the wrong thing. I'm trying really hard to turn this, and it won't... doesn't want to seem to go. I don't know why this thing is so hard to turn. It's got power. It's got reaction wheels. So... But yeah, it's gives me grief. See, it's I'm trying to null this thing out, and I can't get to it fast enough to do that. It's just not turning fast enough, and I don't understand why that is. And oops. And I cannot get that thing to burn prograde. There it goes. Our retrograde. And we finally are. The problem is as we catch up to it, this is as we catch up to it, I'm burning it away. So it's just trying to null this out. Oh, there we go. Come on. Why is this having such a hard time? I don't know why I cannot get this thing to cooperate. It's like it will not turn the way I want it to turn. And I realize part of that is that the ship that I'm trying to turn it towards relative to is also turning, but it's, or, you know, moving, but it is nuts. Okay, good. We were aiming towards that ship. This is tough. This, I don't know why, but it's like the reaction wheels in this thing are just, I thought that was going to be enough to have two of those big giant ones, but, and it's got all the probe cores up there that also have reaction wheels, so I don't know what the problem is. All right, while this is all going on, I'm going to zip to the other ship. I am going to tell it to control from here. And then I am going to find the other ship wherever it may be. There it is. And I'm going to tell it to set as target. Well, apparently I can't. Where am I? All right, let me zip back to this ship. And, well, at least we're headed in the closer direction. I'm going to turn on RCS and maybe just try to line this up because this is really weird. There we go. That works at least a little bit better. That is so strange, though. I am having such a hard time. And then to get this one to connect, and I got to find that ship, which I cannot do. There it is. There we go. Finally got it set as target, so now I'm going to point towards it. We are controlling from here. So that's moving. Oh, good. Man, this is nuts. Yeah, we did burn a lot of monopropellant just to do that. That's crazy. I would have never guessed we were going to burn that much monopropellant. Okay, we are not headed in the right direction. Speaking of monopropellant, let's go ahead. Okay, and we'll aim towards the ship again. All right, I'm going to zip over to this one and see what we've got. We are not quite back. We need to get back to pointing towards the target. All right, a little bit of gas. I'm going to RCS this over. All right, we're finally doing the right thing, I think. We have a bit to go. I'm going to fast forward this. Because otherwise this is just going to take an interminable amount of time, and we're basically headed in the right direction. All right, I'm going to RCS this again. We're going to get this lined up the way that it needs to be. I'm going to line this up the way that it needs to be. Get our momentum all lined up good. And then we're going to start slowing it down. Seem to be doing okay. A little more fast forward, I think, because... Oh, shit. And we just did it. Whew! What I forgot to do is tell this to control from there. And so it was telling me it was that far away, but it was based on this distance, not that distance. So that's why I said, or not that, this distance. Where is it? This distance, not that distance. So that was why I freaked out there at the end. But we are there. We are together. And we just need to refill our science vessel. Not our science vessel, our Eve vessel with fuel. We'll go to the fuel, tech fuel balancer. This is, again, another mod I could not live without. And this is the science vessel, which I want to make sure remains filled. So I'm just going to say in for all of those, but I'm also going to say in for all of these because I believe number 6 is us. And we can find that out by looking here, and yes, we are filled up. So we have all the fuel that we need. Oh, let's get some RCS. We did burn some of that. Let me zip into here again. We already were in there. We'll go into RCS, and we'll do the same thing. We'll just tell this big giant one to fill up the rest of them. Okay. And you can see there's ore in this that's being processed, so it's already refilling all those tanks. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, well, we are attached, and we don't need to be attached anymore. So what we're going to do is undock. And that has us in the wrong context. We want to be in the unmanned ship right at the moment. We're going to turn on RCS. We're going to back up a little bit. Oh, there we go. Looking at the wrong spot. I was out of my mind. All right, we're going to turn RCS off, and we are going to wait a while. Because what we want to do... Well, actually, I tell you, take that back. We're not going to wait a while. What we are going to do is turn prograde. Because I want to get out of the way of this ship. And I want to get it just in a slightly higher orbit so I don't have to worry about where it is at any given time. I'm going to go ahead and physics fast forward this just a bit because it is taking too long to do this. That's the problem with a huge ship like this, and I guess I didn't put enough reaction wheels on there. I thought I had enough to deal with what we were doing, but maybe not. All right, well, we are there now, and as you can see, we are not going to hit that other ship if we burn. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We will come out to about 15,000 meters, maybe. Good enough. And then when we get to this side, we'll do the same thing. And the only reason I'm doing this is, like I said, I just want to stay clear of the other stuff before I burn anything, because the last thing I need to do is put this much into a mission and then have it crash and burn. And I've played this game long enough to have things like that happen. So, all right, I'm going to physics fast forward that to the right position. We have a 22-minute wait before a 1-second burn after that. So the 22-minute wait will obviously be time advanced. And there we are. But, before I could not get that thing to spin. I don't know what the problem was. I don't know. Again, it was relative to the other ship, so it may have been that. But it was just like I was pressing the button and pressing the button and pressing the button, and it was like I had absolutely no control. All right. We're going to zip back to here. Those reaction wheels hopefully doing their job. And we've got a ways, so I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it at this point. There we go. So we're just in a larger orbit. Now the thing that we need to figure out is where we need to burn. And where we need to burn is on this side of the planet, or this side of the moon. Where was that? Someplace in this neighborhood. And that will get us out of Minmus, and this will actually put us on a solar orbit. Now, it's a little higher than I want it to be because, well, normally you'd want to burn below, but because of where Minmus is right now, I don't have that option. But we save so much fuel getting this, I don't care. We can burn that back really easily. So just this whole Minmus expedition has saved us fuel, even though it's kind of burning us a little outside of the orbit that we really want to be in. But again, that's okay. So we'll go ahead and aim where we want to aim. We have a 33-second burn in 11 minutes, so let's get pointed. And then we'll warp to the next maneuver. And apparently we're physics warping to the next maneuver. Honestly, I wish it wouldn't do that. I wish it would, turn that off and turn this one on just on its own. But I didn't write the game, so now I do want physics fast forward on. No, I don't. I want regular fast forward on. We need to get this down to about, 17, 16 seconds, someplace in that neighborhood. And as soon as this thing... Yeah, again, it's funny. These nuclear engines are just... This is around Minmus, and it's just taking this long of a burn to get us out. It just is mind-blowing. All right, but there you have it. We are in orbit. Now, we don't need this docking port anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of it with that fairing. I hope I have my action keys set up right, but it looks like I probably do, and so here we go. Huh, didn't do anything. Let's try that again. There we go. So the docking part's away, the fairing's gone, and we have our first sets of satellites that we've got. So we're on our way. The only next thing I think we need to do is go ahead and fast forward out of this. This will put us into Kerbal orbit. Oh, that's kind of funny. As it turns out, it did all right by us because it didn't actually throw us out. It just thought we were going to burn again. So the good news is we're probably at a pretty good spot. If we burned on this side, to get out in a better... Here. Darn it. What I'm trying to do, and I don't know if it'll let me see where... Yeah, so that's going to put us right... I don't want to burn too much more than that. I just want to get out, and then we'll worry about it, because I don't know exactly where we're aligned and such like that. So that's pretty many days, actually. I don't know if I want to wait that long. Instead of doing that, we're just going to burn prograde, and we're not really burning prograde, right? Darn it. All right. I want to burn prograde. It's finally burning that direction. That's all right. We're going to hop down and we're eventually going to burn out of this place. There we go. You know, my thought originally was to take advantage of that, but that's going to take 37 days. It's a lot easier for me to get out here and just burn a little bit of fuel, and then I don't have to worry about that window being missed. So we're going to go ahead and do that and fast forward until we get to a solar orbit. And we'll know when that turns blue. There we go. So fantastic. What we need to do next is we need to figure out where Eve is. And it's right there. So we're going to set it as target. And we have a little bit of a correction that we're going to have to make. But what I'm going to do now, before we do anything else, is set up a burn. It's 3 hours. We can move that forward if we need to. We're just going to come down to that orbit. And it more or less looks okay. It's hard to tell because we need to burn at the descending nodes and things like that to really get an intercept. But generally speaking, that looks about right. So we will go ahead and fast forward to here. I'm using the physics fast forward a little aggressively just because I've accidentally done it so many times. I don't think it's going to be a big problem of the ship tearing apart. Okay, so we will warp to next maneuver. We're going to have a ridiculously long burn, which I will once again fast forward through. Do a bit of time physics time acceleration for me, but I will. You guys get the whole break. So. Just about 4 minutes is what I'm going to give it. I know it's a little bit of an early burn, but this doesn't have to be perfect. We're eyeballing it anyways. And we'll start there and go. All right, see you on the other side of the burn. That should be good enough. It's really hard to tell, so we're not going to know again until we get to the descending node. This is where we're going to get on the same plane as Eve. It's descending node, so we're going to burn up. About halfway through. So in 70 days, we have a 2-minute, 28-second burn. All right, so I don't want to fast forward through that. We have a bunch of other missions that we can get going. We need to do mining missions and such like that. So this is just the beginning part. We're getting going to it, and we're going to have, again, it's a program. It's not a mission. So we will get to this. We'll do that burn and maybe even off. I don't know exactly what we'll do, but we'll figure it out. I don't want to, this has been a long video already, so I don't want to continue to do this, and I do want to get missions in that 70 days. So we will work on that, and I'll figure out how to best present that in a video, and I will see you the next time doing that. Please click the subscribe button so you're alerted to when those videos come out. Please like this video, and do me a favor, have a great day, and be safe.